No problem.
I owe you one.
Nah, not a problem.
And I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter, Stephan. And you guys,
Okay.
I'm recording this demo, so I will upload it when it's done. And you guys can watch it again at your leisure. You can go over any parts, because we're going to try and go pretty quickly here, because there's, 900 windows in the software that, not everybody's going to use. You may not use all of the software, but there are certain things that we want to hit on this first demo. So, okay, so just a general overview. I know we went over last time some of the stuff that happens on the back end of, or when you've actually started using eManage and putting stuff in. Just by doing your daily work, you get things like a backlog report, and you get the dashboard. So, Stephan, can you just really quickly take us to your dashboard? And I'm just going to review it really quick. I know we went through it last time, but I'm not sure exactly when your internet cut out. So, the dashboard, again, is just a graphical way to look at your company. If you're a salesperson, you only see your own stuff. If you're a manager, you see everybody. Everybody that you manage. So even if you have, two sales managers that handle different salespeople, they would see only the people they manage. So it's like sort of a top-down management. So Stephan, what do you find valuable about these graphs? Just at a quick glance.
Well, just looking at our markets, you can see education and government's our largest markets, and so it gives me a quick and easy way to look at the business as it's day to day, year to date, month to date. So yeah, I love going through these graphs. My sales manager loves it.
Would you also use this maybe like say you wanted to be better at doing the financial market? This is a way for me at least. That's the reason why we did this market thing, was so that you could then use your prospecting tool. And you actually pushed the meeting away, right? The little red button with the white arrow somewhere around here? Okay. The prospecting thing, let's say I want to look for financial planning. Financial planning in Honolulu, Hawaii. Okay. So if he says, wow, we're not really doing much in the financial market, let's see if we can get that. Let's see if we can build that market, right? So he can actually go in and do prospecting and find financial planning companies in Honolulu or Maui or anywhere else. So, I mean, to me, that's why this graph is so important, to see where you're not doing the business so that you can beef that up a little. Stephan, what do you think?
Yes, absolutely. The prospecting we love. Our salespeople like it. One just searching for different markets. Like you did, but also, this is an easy way to add contacts and companies into the database without having to manually type it in.
Right, because what happens when people manually type stuff in?
They have errors.
Right. So
Something wrong.
Yeah, and you guys know, I mean, I'm sure you guys have had a situation where the company name isn't right or the address isn't right. So when, it's harder to get paid if that stuff is not correct. Because people, some people use any excuse not to pay. Oh, we don't have you don't have the right name or the right branch number or whatever. This takes care of all of that. So,
where does it get that information from? Could you share that?
Yeah, it actually gets it from the Yahoo directory.
Okay.
So the nice thing about using the Yahoo directory, okay, is that in order to get into the Yahoo directory, somebody has to put themselves in the Yahoo directory. So this is exactly the way they put themselves in, right? So it's actually better than somebody else deciding how that should look. So it's really simple too. If I want to add this as a new company into my database, I just click on Add as a New Location. And it fills everything out for me that it can, leaving me only a few fields to fill out. Okay, so I mean, really, the nice thing is too, there would never be a duplicate in your database because it would recognize that this already exists when somebody tries to put it back in. And you notice what it did here is it split out the address too for you. So anyway, yeah, the prospecting, this is one way to do it, is to get it in here, but you can also build a grid. So Stephan, is that how you mostly use it? You build a grid and then
Yeah, if we're doing prospecting like this, then we'll build a grid.
And you guys, this is really, really cool because it gives you the company name, the address, the phone number to call. It's like a prospecting sheet. It's a call sheet. So if you want to go and find some new customers, there you go. And it's the phone number, it's the website, it's everything that they've listed in the Yahoo directory. What it also does is when it's done loading up, it also has a place for the first name, last name, the contact information. So you literally can type that in the grid, add it to the database. So, and build a list of prospects there. Okay. So, Stephan, do you guys use the marketing campaigns at all?
Yes.
Okay. And what do marketing campaigns mean for you?
The marketing campaigns, what we do is we do these e-blasts to our customers. So right now we have a marketing campaign.
You want to take us there?
We didn't add it yet, but it's a new one. We have a new product that was introduced by one of our manufacturers, and so we did a marketing campaign to about 5,000 of our existing customers in our database.
And how did you do that?
Well, what we've done, the marketing campaign, so inside here we'll have our, product highlights. Here's one that we did. This is actually an older one, but we sent it out, and what was interesting is we did it on these walls, these Genius walls, and we got one lead from it, and it turned into a project, and then it turned into a job. We made a sale, and so the sale was $71,000, and that just shows that we made $19,000 in profit on that one lead in a marketing campaign.
Right. And here's how it works, you guys, is that you have a campaign cost. So let's say you guys put an ad in the Yellow Pages. Okay, that Yellow Page ad costs you money. When people call in to get a quote or they want to talk to you about anything, you create a lead record. Okay, so that would go into how many leads were generated. Then those leads can turn into projects. A project for us is when you guys have a scope of work. You're going to do a quote for them. Okay? Then if it converts into a job where you've sold it to them, then that goes into here and it starts tracking the profitability. So that takes the profitability only of that job and applies it to the campaign cost, divided by the number of leads to give you an actual campaign cost. So you can see this is the way it should look. It should be a negative lot of money to be a successful campaign. Okay? So, but this tracks all of it for you just by creating marketing campaigns and generating leads and then letting it run through the system. This happens automatically. And you can look at your marketing campaigns as a whole, your entire company, or you can look at it individually like this. So, all right, cool. So, Stephan, I talked the other day, I think this is where you guys had lost your connection, about the two things that are in the eManage Bible. So you want to elaborate on that a little bit, the opportunities and the backlog?
Yeah. This is when I sit down and, when we talk to the sales team, the current opportunities and the current backlog are the two key things. The opportunities obviously is going to show everything that's out there that's a potential job. So as management, I can look at my current opportunities and I'll have all my salespeople in here, and so I can look at it, see everything, all the projects that are out there. But as individual salespeople, they can come in here and they only see their items. And so I've actually reformatted my columns a little bit in the order that I wanted them. And so, we have the approximate value, decision date. We have an area in here you could type some notes.
And Stephan, is that notes field? I mean, that field is there, but it didn't come editable, right?
No. What I did is, and this is the thing that I love, that I think is just so incredibly powerful about eManage, is this was just the grid, but what I was able to do is I could go in here and I can create in these grid functions, I could configure editable fields. And so you'll notice when this pops up, all these fields, all these columns, I've said I wanted to edit them. So I don't want to have to, let's say like decision date, typically you'd right click and I can update the decision date. Well, I want to make it so it's really easy, so I can just click in here and update the date, the decision date. If I want to change the project manager, I could do it right here. I made these all drop downs so I can edit all these fields, and my team could do it.
Right. And what do you actually use this grid for?
This is where they manage all their projects and their potential sales. So our salespeople are going in here, and they'll come in and they'll right click, and we could do different things and go to the project actions, like maybe they want to send a note or schedule an event. Right. Or something like that. They could do it right from here.
Right. And you guys, what that really means is this is your pipeline. Okay. This is the stuff that you've got as potential business. It's just your pipeline. So when you're a salesperson looking at this, you see your pipeline. When you're a manager, you see your entire business pipeline. Okay. So that's what's really important about this. Now, when you get into the current backlog, okay, when you get into the current backlog, that is the business you've already booked as a sale. Okay, so on this side we have the stuff that you're working on that has not been booked, that's going through your process to get booked or to not get booked. But the current backlog is every job that you have booked in your system where the customer said, here's my PO or here's my signed quote, and so that you can have a listing of everything and make sure nothing falls through the cracks. Stephan, how do things get into the current opportunities list?
The current opportunities is once you create a project?
Yeah, it's just creating a project, you guys. That's it.
Yeah.
Starting a project gets it in that list automatically. There's nothing you have to do to get it into that list. The current backlog, how do things get into that list?
Once you book a project, it automatically takes it from current opportunities and moves it into your current backlog.
Right. So just booking, just accepting that order from that customer and it getting a job number moves it from one list to the other. Between current opportunities and current backlog is your entire business. Okay? Yeah. Your current business is right there between those two things. That's why we call it your Bible. Because there's not one thing going on in your one project going on in your business that's not in one of those two places. Once it, what brings it out of the backlog, Stephan?
When it's invoiced for final.
Okay, so once the balance of that order is fully invoiced, it moves into collections into your accounting department. Now your accounting department is in charge of that project until the money is collected and the commission is paid. Okay, this all happens just because people are doing their job. It does not happen, nobody has to do anything special to get this to happen. So Stephan, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ask a question?
Yeah.
Will the system, or does the system allow for partial billing in the fact that, say, you've got 50 pieces and 2 are damaged, but you want to go ahead and bill them for the product that's good and maybe not bill them for the 2 pieces that are damaged that are holding out there to be taken care of? And so that way you get payment at least on what has actually been delivered. Is that capable?
That's a great question, and yes, absolutely it does. Stephan, can you just go into one of those and go into the order entry?
Yeah, you know what? I can pull up let me pull up a project I'm just trying to create now that we've been doing progress.
Yeah, and what we actually do is when you book your order, it has items on it, okay? And you can, let's say, certain vendors send quickly, certain vendors, take a little longer on their lead time. You can break your order, your entire project into multiple orders, each one with its own invoices. So you can book the whole thing all at once and then say, oh, I want to bill for these 5 items now. You just move it to a new order and just bill for those things. And you can either put the items that you left behind on back order and show it on back order on your invoice, or any of those kind of things. So,
you know what? I'll show you. I'll show one that has it has some back order, and let's see, where is it? Back order, but it also had some change orders as well. that we added on to it.
For those of you that don't know, Stephan is an AIS dealer and a Haworth dealer and a KI dealer, and he also does Spacesaver shelving, mobile systems.
So here was the original order, and this was a direct bill by Haworth. So what we did is we didn't create an invoice to the customer. It came over as it's an invoice to Haworth.
How does
so they have there's a 10% vendor commission on that. Then there's the installation, which is 100% non-Haworth product, Systemcenter services and contract services, and then there's some add-on orders. So this was an add-on order for pedestals. This is an add-on order for overhead. Here's labor bill back for service. We had to do warranty. There were some punch list items. And then this is another one for the painted drawer front was damaged when we received it.
So what he's showing you guys is that one project, one job can have multiple orders in it. Each one gets billed separately. Okay, so you can make progress payments. You can do let's see, let's just go here to customer invoices. When you're making invoices, you're making them per order. So if you look here, for this order, this was an invoice created for $180. When I go to this is another invoice, two invoices made to the vendor for that amount. Okay, and it shows you the whole amount and everything here and how much has been invoiced. So you can make progress payments. You can do, you can move things between orders and bill for only certain things at once. And just so you see, a new invoice here is really, really simple. You say, I'm doing a percentage of the balance, or I'm going to do a percentage of the order. So the difference is, let's say I'm doing a 30-30-40 split. Okay, my first invoice is going to be 30% of the balance. My second invoice is going to be 30% of the balance. I mean, of the order, not the balance. Then my last invoice would be 100% of the balance. So the progress payments are really simple in here. You just add this. You could also reverse it and just do a dollar amount and let it figure out what the percentage is. Okay. And Stephan, they use QuickBooks. So you also use QuickBooks as well, right?
Yes.
So when you invoice in here, what happens to it?
When we invoice, what it does is it goes into a queue in our QuickBooks for to send receivables. And I don't know if we have any, because I think, yeah, every day our general manager then pushes these over. But what it does is it goes into a queue to send to QuickBooks, and all we do is we select them and click on Send to QuickBooks. And it sends all of our receivables, our payables, it sends our payroll, our commissions, everything to QuickBooks. And it's just flawless. And you know, the thing that I love most is we do all of our payroll with QuickBooks, and we use the payroll service. And it's automated, so it does a direct deposit into all of our employees' accounts. And when we just push it right over, and it creates an email. QuickBooks creates an email and sends it to our all of my employees, saying, you know, click here to view your payroll for this pay period, and they just log in online. It's all automated. I don't print anything. I can do payroll in about 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And
what he's saying is that he does all of his timesheets. Everything happens in eManage, so he actually gets his actual job cost inside of eManage, and then he clicks a button and it pushes those timesheets over to QuickBooks, and then it does the payroll from there. It's a couple clicks. I'm sorry.
Don, what does an invoice look like? I mean, I know you're entering your order in eManage, and then you're saying it just automatically goes into QuickBooks. What does an invoice look like when it goes to the customer in QuickBooks? Is it line by line with all the detail, or? We
actually print the invoices from eManage. You don't bill from QuickBooks, you bill from eManage. But it goes over to QuickBooks. It goes over to QuickBooks, so that you have that in your general ledger. But the QuickBooks becomes really a general ledger for you. This becomes your Bible. So if we do, did you print, Stephan?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your invoice is going to have the line items that were on the order. So we can see here. And
yeah,
let me tell you.
However, I'll show you. Let me see.
Let me tell you one thing about the reports in here. Everything in here, we use crystal reports. So if you're not happy with the way something looks, and Stephan has done many of his own, custom reports, you can actually customize them and use alternatives. So if you want the invoice to look a certain way, or you want the work order to look a certain way, any of our reports, our quotes, everything can be modified. So go ahead, Stephan, sorry.
Yeah, what we did is basically in the order entry, let me go to the order entry window here. Basically how you set this up in the order entry is how it's going to print. So when you go to process your bill of materials, so we did our inside of here, and I might be jumping a little ahead of you, Philip, but here's our estimating. So basically this bid that we did, and this is a large bid, we bid 4 groups. And so the seating, desking, storage, and the library. And these are all the line items in here. So in each group, so group 1, we had item 1, 2, 3, and so on. And
Stephan, how does that stuff get in there?
Oh, we use CAP 2020. We use KI has their own software, and we use CET, and we have Configura for Spacesaver and everything. So what we do is we take that CIF file and we import it in here, and it automatically calculates everything out. Can you
actually just show us real quick how you import? Because you guys, here's what happens. You're already doing the work in whatever you're doing to draw it. Okay, so we just take what you've already done in a CIF file, and we let you import it. And there's things that you can do to automate a lot of this stuff. And Stephan's going to show it here.
Yeah, I'll show you real quick what I've done. Let me.
If you just do a CIF import.
Yeah, let me just get rid of this one. So it's what I do is down here we have a bunch of auto parts. And what they are, so say a furniture project. I have a furniture line item. I'm going to select that. Inside of, this is kind of it's a template, it's a group, and inside of this, these are all my services. So if you notice, I have AIS shipping, because we have to ship it over to ocean, desking freight, desking table labor, KI additional part. This is an additional charge. They do like a service charge in certain items. Panel labor, seating, freight, chair delivery. So those are all my.
They're all the things. They're all the things aside from the product it's going to import. Okay, so the product gets imported from the CIF file. Click. This stuff gets added automatically and calculates based on what you're importing the product. Okay, so go ahead and do it, Stephan.
So what I'm doing is, all this has been set up, so my estimators, when they come in and they need to do a quote, that's a furniture quote, all they're going to do is they check this button once at the beginning of the day, because it defaults for the rest of the day, and then they'll go into import BOM, and I am doing a CAP CIF, browse, and here's my CIF. Now, I can also, if this is if there's a contract, I put contracts in here. So say this is a Navy BPA contract for AIS. I could click on this Navy BPA.
And are you guys familiar with what he's talking about, the contracts that you do, the buying groups, the special pricing, whatever, or GSA, stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay, so what he's done, or what the system lets you do is set those up ahead of time. AIS, I'm assuming, gives a vendor commission off of what you sell. So what it does, that contract that you set up says, okay, the customer gets this discount, and I get this commission percent, and it does it all while it's importing from the CIF file. So it literally, what we try to get to, if we want one-click importing. That's been the goal of the software from the very beginning, is so that you can click one button, import, and have a quote ready to go. And you can see in here, it built this entire structure from a SIF file and the AutoPart template with one click. Sorry, Stephan, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically what I just did when I imported this, and this is they named it. This is how they named it, so the customer knew what we were talking about. They have the Blue Room, M5,
inside of
Ocean
Cap Studio,
Bowl.
right?
I don't know what these mean, but these are rooms that the customer wanted. So it's broken out by area. So if in this area, it's showing, you can see the list price, and then there's a customer discount. And within that, this phase or this area of the quote, here's all the line items. And so all the line items are in here, and you'll notice that the first thing is there's a check here saying that there's an error, and that's showing that way because there's skipped options. So it's saying, hey, there's an error on this. These have not been selected.
Right. And you guys, what it means is that, you didn't pick a fabric color, or you didn't, those kind of things. When they come into the system, they come in as a skipped option, and they show on the quote in red, so that when you give a quote to your customer, and there's a red thing that says skipped option, and it'll say what group it's in. So it'll say fabric selection, grade A, or whatever. It'll say that in your quote, so that your customer knows, oh, I still need to choose this, because this quote isn't actually going to, may cost more. So, Stephan, can you really quickly, before we go any further, I just want to show how a salesperson would come in and change the price. You guys know your customers pretty well. You know what, especially if it's a repeat customer, so you know kind of what they can afford, or what you're going to try and sell at, what margin or a discount from list, whatever. Can you just show how you do that?
What we do is the salesperson, there's an action item to do this quote. So when a salesperson submits an action item to do a draw estimate required, one of the prerequisites that we set is customer discount or profit margin. So they'll kind of type this in. They'll want to be at a 25 margin, and they'll kind of type it in, and the site surveys attached. So these are prerequisites.
Hold on one second, Stephan. I'm sorry, you guys, to jump around, but this action item, what this is this is your workflow. Okay, this is the workflow that your project goes through. And everybody's a little different, but most people have a certain process that they follow to get a job through the entire way. So you can see here that these are things that Stephan's designed for the project type he's on, that are requests that can be made by people working on the project of other people, and they're automatically delivered to the people that they're supposed to be delivered to. Okay. This prerequisite is a checklist. If I want to get a drawn estimate required, I have to check off all of these things before I can submit it. So it's a checklist to say, I don't know how you guys work, but most places, the salespeople, they might skip attaching something that's really important. So this is just a reminder. It doesn't, all they have to do is check this. And it's saying, I know I've attached this. Then the submit button will enable. So that's just the workflow thing. So go ahead, Stephan.
Oh yeah, this is huge, because if a salesperson submits an action item for a draw estimate required, and they didn't attach the site survey, it pops up in a queue for actions to perform for our designers. So this action item goes into a queue for all of our designers. Then whoever's ready to open this project and start working on it, they open it up, it time stamps it, it starts to apply all of our internal project costs and everything. But if they open it, the site survey is not attached, there's a button that says reject, and you can type a note, no site survey, reject, and it goes back. And if we'll look at our action items and our workflow, and if the salesperson comes to me and says, hey, they're not getting my stuff done, I can look at the history of all the action items. whether they've been done, completed, or rejected, or how long it takes.
Yeah,
it shows everything.
What's really important about what Stephan just said is the accountability. Okay, there's a way for everybody to see, is that person actually not doing my stuff, or is it because I'm not supplying the information? So it's everybody is accountable for what they do or what they're responsible for. It's just automatic.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we?
So anyway, sorry, I'll get back to what we did is then. So we kind of put in a profit margin, but and the discounting, and if it's a contract like this where we have to give, it's under contract and we have to give the discount per the contract, then it is what it is. Otherwise, you could just type in the percentage right here, or you can also do the percentage rate on the line item.
Right, and you guys, we actually have three or four different pricing types depending on how you work. So this is a discount from list. We also have a lump sum sale plus tax, which is cost, and you apply a profit margin to that cost. And then we have markup, and you guys all know what markup is. It's 1 point whatever markup you do times the cost. So we actually have 4, but Stephan chose not to show the 4th one, and it's lump sum sale, which means if you guys have use tax, and I think Texas has some really, I don't know if you guys have the tax things where it's per district. You guys have that weird, you have that weird tax, right, where you have to look up in a table of all of these different metro taxes. And anyway, we actually handle that. By the way, we have a thing specifically for Texas that does that you can put in all the rates, and it'll look up all those things. So, but anyway, we have those 4 different pricing types. So right here, this is a discount from list, so he can change the discount. But if it was a lump sum sale plus tax, you could go in and change the profit margin. Above and beyond all that, you could just say, you know what, I think I can get $110,000 for this, and you can go right in here and type $110,000, okay, and change it right there, and you'll get that price. Okay, so the other thing you can do is you can actually do this by product type, because you guys actually probably discount differently or price differently based on the product type. So right here, you can just say, I want to change my AIS matrix, okay, and I want to sell it for this much, or I want to give it a discount of something. Okay, so you can change it right in here by product type instead of having to look at all those items. Okay, you can also, if you guys are familiar with MFG codes, that's how we do your importing from the CIF file. So the MFG code is right in here. So this is the MFG code for Divi, this is matrix. Okay, so you could do it that way too. We have a lot of different pricing options that make it really simple. Okay,
I'm sorry if I could jump in real quick. This is so huge for us, because with our estimators, by setting up the contracts and then these auto parts I showed you, these are our auto parts. What happens is everything is, it doesn't matter who's estimating this project, it's being estimated the way I set it up and the way I want it to be estimated. And so all these auto parts and everything, you notice I have AIS shipping. Here's a quantity, and I'm doing it based on the list price, and I have a percentage that I'm saying is, 6% to ship this over here.
Right. You guys notice that he did not type that quantity, and it was already there. And that's because the auto part is set up to auto-calculate. The point being that Stephan sets it up once, or whoever the smartest person in your company is, to do this, right? The smartest person in your company is the one that sets it up right one time, and everybody uses it. So it becomes your standard, the standard that goes out of your company. Doesn't mean you can't change it. It just means that the standard coming in is the standard of your company. So there is no, it's not wrong because somebody typed it wrong. Okay. So Stephan, can you show us a quote, one of your proposals that, with all the nice fluff around it?
Yeah. I could just print a quote right here, actually.
Yeah, let's do that. Except for you deleted that.
I think this guy's there.
Okay, so you guys, Stephan, you have what, three different businesses, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he runs 3 different businesses, so he's got logos and different invoices for different companies. So it lets you do all of this stuff. Okay, so he's choosing a market type, and Stephan customized his report to actually have pictures based on the market type. Okay, so this is what his quote looks like just from importing and making a quote. This is what it comes out like, right out of the system.
Yeah, I just kind of tweaked the report, and I made it so you saw that when I select college and university, these pictures change to college and university. If I select government, they would change to government pictures. And
Very nice. Yeah.
so there, I have a boilerplate letter. Here's our corporate overview and a little bit about the Systemcenter. This gets into, here's the header I have. We're a veteran-owned company, build to, ship to, all that. And this is a phase quote. So if you notice, it's just I created a description in the phase, and it's not showing all the line item parts. So some of our items, especially like a Spacesaver, a mobile system, people don't know what the parts are and don't really care. They don't have options on the parts. So we just roll it up and do a phase quote. And so we have here's our Spacesaver system.
It's one description, you guys, one description, one price, and it basically is like doing an assembly. So here's what I'm going to sell you in a descriptive way, and here's the price instead of showing every single line item that makes it up. So if your customer doesn't care to see every single part, you could do a phase quote and say room, 128, desk, chair, computer stand, whatever. You guys can do that. It's an option for you if you don't have to show every single line item. The thing with furniture is you probably want to show the line items a lot because there's a skipped option thing. And Stephan, do you have something that you can show with the skipped option?
Yeah, here's the proposal. I just did this proposal last night.
Yep, 11/14. You guys, where he is right now is in the document section. We do real document management. When you attach something to a project, it puts it into the database so that it can be accessed from any other computer without going to a user drive, going into somebody else's user directory, and going through folder after folder after folder looking for the right thing. Every document is attached to the project. So you just look up the project and go to documents, and it's right there. And it can be emailed directly out of here. It can be saved. It can be edited. All of those things can happen right from the system. Oh, Stephan, can you go back a little? You guys notice that there's a picture in here?
Yeah.
You can put pictures. You can literally right-click on something and say, I want to add a picture to that and show my customer what it looks like.
Yeah, that's right in the BOM. I'll show you this real quick. So this is a government project that we're working on, and they broke it out based on F01, 04. These are the items that we're bidding. And so if I click on this, here's the item right here. So this is the X series bookcase, or this 4-leg stacker armchair. If I right-click on it and modify the picture, there's the picture.
So just by doing that, right-click, add a picture, and you will have that picture on your quote, just like that. So building a quote, I mean, look, the biggest difference between somebody using eManage and somebody not is the amount of time they spend on a quote to spit out a great-looking quote. I mean, all things being equal, right? The person with the nicer quote is going to win. Aside from, if the price is pretty comparable, if you send somebody a really nice-looking PDF quote with pictures and skipped options in red so they see exactly what it is that's happening, that wins. So, Stephan, what is this that you're looking at? So
this is the end of the quote. So the total quote, here's my total amount, here's my signature. And it's, actually, I don't have any skipped options on this, but what happens is if I had a skipped option here, so I have all the colors selected, it's going to say either skipped option or to be determined, and it's going to show up in red. Anything that's skipped shows in red. So Our salespeople know it needs to be selected. The architect, designer, the end user, I don't care who it is. If there's something on here in red, they know it needs to be selected.
And Stephan,
So
what's the advantage? I'm sorry, what's the advantage of saving every single quote to eManage as a document?
Oh gosh, if it's not in eManage, it didn't happen.
But what's the advantage of actually saving that? Of saving
I
the
can
PDF?
go in here. If you noticed, here was the original quote that I did, and then I revised it. And I have everything right here. You know, there's no question. If somebody called, and maybe I'm not even familiar with this project, and they say, hey, I'm calling regarding, you know, project number, you know, 5352, or quote number 31259, or whatever, I could just go in here, and they could say, hey, you know, I'm calling regarding this or that. I can just look, and here's all the emails that we've sent out. You know, here's the original drawings, the CAD files.
And you guys, that's where he hit the nail on the head. If anyone calls in and the salesperson is not available, the person on the phone that they get to can help the customer, period. They have every single thing that they need to know to help that customer on the phone, right? Your salespeople can be out selling. Your internal people can be helping your customers when they call in with questions.
Right. So if I had a customer called in, they said, hey, you know, I needed to add, you know, 10 more chairs, or I need this change. Here's the drawing file. So this could be a, you know, a CAP file, or it could be a project matrix file, or this file is actually a CET, configure file. I just open it here, and when I open it,
yeah, go ahead and say that you want to edit it. Let's show them real quick what that means.
Let me do my. I don't have CET open, so that's going to take a second. But let me close this quote.
You guys, what happens is when you open up a file from within the document section of eManage, it says, "Do you want to edit it?" If you say yes, it puts it into edit mode. When you go back and say reattach it, and it's just a click, and it reattaches it, it crosses out the old one, leaves it there. That file still exists, your old one. It crosses it out and automatically puts the new version in there. So you have a complete history of every document and every revision that went through that document. So if the customer says, oh, you know what, I like the one you did before, you just uncheck, you just make it, uncheck it, it becomes current. And the other one becomes
I'll show you real quick the process that we do with doing a quote. So you notice, and this is where it's just mind-boggling on how efficient we run and how fast we can get stuff out. So we did the drawing and everything, whether in CET or CAP. I import all the SIF file in here. It automatically figured out my shipping, my installation. I can tweak this if I want in here, so depending on the size of the project. And so I can just quickly adjust pricing and do things, and even change the names of these. And then I print the quote. Now what I do is when we print the quote, then we save this. There's a little button here, Save the eManage, and we'll just type a name for it, furniture quote number 27228, and this is the customer proposal, so I'm selecting what type of document, and I save it. Now, so what this is doing is it's taking and giving me a hard copy, a PDF copy, and saving it to the project. So now if I go to the documents on this project, and I go to customer proposal, here's that quote I just did. Now, typically what we're going to do is now we're going to add a drawing to that, maybe some brochures. So I'm going to click and I'm going to open it, and it's going to say open for editing, and I want to edit it. So I open it up, and I'll open up my pages on the side here, and there's a little box. Can you guys see a little box down here that says editing furniture quote?
Yes.
And click here to save this document back to project ID 2949. Well, I'm not going to save that yet. So what I'll do is then I can go back into the project, and I can go to the drawing.
I'm going to clarify this. Stephan has Adobe Acrobat, so he actually
Right.
can modify PDF files, and he does. He adds other things into the PDF file before he sends it off. So.
Right. So I'm going to take and I'm going to add this drawing to the quote. So now I just added this drawing. And then I can go and inside I have, maybe I have some brochures that I want to add to it, or even pictures. Inside eManage, we have our company documents, which is basically like a file server. So I created a vendor info and, you know, maybe AIS or KI, brochure, seating, task chairs. So here's now all these chairs. So I can open up this, and here's this chair, and I can select all or some of the items, and I could just drag, and I could go back to the furniture quote, and I could drop them in there. So now what I did is I created this proposal that's totally complete.
Wow.
Okay, and then I can even type some notes on here, you know, and this is the great thing about taking advantage of technology, and you know, seat is adjustable. So I can type some notes, I can add all these things in here, and now what I do is I click on save, and I close it, and then I'll click down here, save this document back. And what happens is when I save it back, we go back to that project right here. Here's that furniture that I did. Here's the one that I edited. What it did is it crossed it out and made it not current. And then this one is the new one that I just did.
Right. So you guys, it keeps every revision of every document that you do so that you know how something happened. There is no I didn't get that, I didn't see it, it didn't happen. It's all right there in black and white. Okay?
Right.
It's from
And so
everybody.
from here,
every single person in the company is then accountable for what they do, and things run smoother when people are accountable.
Right. Yep. And then we'll take this and we'll make it customer viewable. So a customer could log in to the customer web portal and they could download this. But the next step, what we do from here,
you know, I'm sorry, Stephan. I don't want to run too far over. I just want to get on to the next part. So yeah. I just want to talk about. So you guys, you do your quote, they give it back. You go into the order entry. What he was talking about on the order entry is he processes the bill of materials. So whatever that quote was, it automatically becomes the invoice when you say process the bill of materials. It takes whatever quote you did and builds the invoice, because your invoice should look just like your quote. Okay, if your customer signed off on that, it should look like that. So it does. That's what it does automatically. Then you can do deposit invoices, stuff like that. You order your product the same way. When you create purchase orders in eManage, it uses your bill of materials to build your purchase orders. And does AIS have a website where you can upload ZIP files or XML files or?
Yeah.
Okay. So we do XML. We do OFDA XML. So if they accept OFDA XML, we have that right here. Where's your POs, dude?
right there.
Where? Am I blind? Am I blind? Oh, I am blind. Sorry. So we have the OFDA. We have OFDA stuff right here where you can do the export to OFDA and it can go into the website. We haven't built anything for AIS to do that automatically, but we have no problem. We have no problem doing that where we can transmit it through the software. Okay, but all your POs are created automatically based on the quote that you did. Okay, so Stephan, what happens after you get you get your acknowledgement back from your customer? You then go and schedule your installation, right?
Yeah.
So or delivery or installation. If it's just delivery, you guys, we have a way to make multiple calendars in the system. So you could have one for delivery only, and you could have one for where you have to go and install everything. So you guys can configure whatever calendars you need, and they'll come up actually as separate calendars filtered so that you only see the ones you need to see. So go ahead and click on that, Stephan. Let's just take a look at your calendar.
Yeah. What's nice is when when we have a project that is booked and turns into a job, it automatically takes it and puts it in the queue down here to be scheduled for installation. And then there's an action item on acknowledgement, or on our acknowledgement, when they're completing the acknowledgement confirmation action item, they create another action item to schedule for installation. So whoever's the person that's responsible, or the people that are responsible for doing that, get an action to perform. And then
I'm sorry.
There might be, yeah, there's nothing here right now, but they'll get an action item, and then they'll go in here. Oops.
So you guys, this calendar is drag and drop. So when something shows up in here, when something shows up in this grid, all you do is drag and drop it to the day you want to start on, and it creates the schedule. You can schedule for multiple days. So when I drop that, it's going to give me an option to say, well, I really actually want to do it for 8 days or whatever, start time, end time, 1 item per day. It lets me do all that and schedule people at the same time. Okay, and it'll create multiple items here. It's all drag and drop enabled. So if this job moves, if they say, you know what, you need to come the next week, I just drag and drop it to the next week. No problem. And it reschedules it. Okay.
No problem.
Well, you can see the rest of your calendar right here. So when I say no problem, I mean you can actually see if it's going to be a problem or not ahead of time. The other thing is, you guys, that we do, I don't know how big your company is, or if you have OSHA requirements to do safety training. We have safety training built into the system. Okay? So when you print a work order that's, let's say, let me go back to the 12th here, of 12th of October, and I'm going to print a work order that was on, you don't have anything that started on 12th. Let's go to 26. 26. Stephan, I'm going to move this for a second. Okay, so that's drag and drop, you guys. I just dragged and dropped that and moved it to the next day. And I'm going to print the work order for this.
Oh, I didn't set the safety training yet.
Oh, but I did a use original, I thought, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh, let's just do here. You guys, this is automatic, I promise. But if I do this, come on. Well, I can show you another one. Stephan's made his own custom report, and that's actually.
I have to update it to handle the safety training.
The safety training prints on the report itself, and it's actually automated so that we have all of the things in here. We have all the things right in here that you have to do for safety training. Back safety, proper lifting, okay, proper reaching, equipment dangers, driving safely in winter weather. All of the things that are OSHA requirements are already in your database and already ready to go. And it's automatically printing on your work order that you print out for your guys as it happens. Okay, so we actually meet that requirement for you right there. Okay, but can you talk a little bit about payroll, Stephan? Are we going over for you guys? Do we need to cut this off, or could you have a little more time?
Oh, no. We'd like to continue.
Okay. So, Stephan, you want to talk about just payroll a little bit, because we do, you know, we're not an accounting system, but we do a lot of accounting functions just by you guys doing your job. So our timesheets actually become the actual cost of doing labor on the job, and the payroll is actually done either through this calendar, or we have these barcode scanners, and I think Stephan may be doing it that way, or maybe using time clock, but we actually store the time against the project, okay? And it's either created automatically, or you can do things in the timesheet here if you just want to enter them. You can modify things if you need to. These timesheets go over to QuickBooks. And do you guys use QuickBooks for your payroll, or no?
Yes.
You use QuickBooks payroll service? Okay. So yeah, this goes right over one click. If you look here on the QuickBooks menu, let me just take over here for a sec. On the QuickBooks menu here, we have send timesheets and send commissions. Okay, those are both handled through payroll. Okay, and you do that, you say, I want to send them all, they go right over, your payroll's done. Okay? We store everything about your employees here. So we do the, in here, Stephan has multiple companies, right? So we have 3 companies to choose from to look at employees. If I look at the Systemcenter, which is the furniture shelving side, I get all the people that are in there. Stephan, do you have any installers in here that you can?
Yeah.
Who's an installer? Oh, right there. Here, that guy, Stanley. How about?
Here.
Okay, so we store their picture. We have all their stuff about. We have all their information about their address. We decide whether they're paid for holidays or not in here. We handle all of your PTO, sick days. All of that happens in here. Okay, we store their emergency contacts. We have pay rates. So do you guys do any prevailing wage jobs?
No.
You don't do prevailing wage? Okay. Well, if you have different things that have different pay rates, you can actually have separate pay schedules. Okay? So that on this job you're going to get paid this rate of pay, and it's going to cost my company this much. You see this actual cost per hour is the cost that goes against the job on the timesheet. Okay? So all this stuff is stored in here. We have notes. We have the emergency contacts. We have issued assets. So if you guys can actually keep track of, I issued this employee a cell phone. I issued this employee a credit card. These people have keys to my office. Okay? All of that stuff is tracked in here against the employee. Documents. If somebody sends an email saying, wow, this employee really went above and beyond, attach the document to their human resources record. Okay? And you've got a complete history of this person working at your company. It keeps all of the history of their pay rates, everything from the time they started to the time they're gone. Okay. Let's see. So Stephan, let's go back. Let's go to one of your jobs that, and let's look at the final profit and loss, because I want to kind of move just a little faster on this. So the final, you guys, the final. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go to commissions first.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
A quick question. I keep seeing this send to QuickBooks, send to QuickBooks. Is it possible for QuickBooks to send all of the existing information we have into eManage?
Actually, we can import, if you look here down the bottom, Stephan, we can import your vendors and your customers, but the jobs we can't import because we require a little, you can see that we actually have a little more information than QuickBooks has. But we can import, in the very beginning, we can import your customers and your vendors.
And okay. Employee information, we create that?
And employees, yes, we can import that as well.
Okay.
We can grab all that. And that gives you a real good head start for setting this up. So part of our install process, I mean, when you get the software, we spend well, as much time as it takes to get you guys set up to where you have your action items, you have your workflow set up, you have your employees set up, and you're good to go. But this is part of our process, is getting this stuff imported for you and helping you set that up. So I'm sorry, this is a commissions. So if you just double click on this, it's going to by order create your commissions for you. Okay, the database has an unlimited number of commission plans that you can set up. Okay, so you can change the plan right here and change how somebody's being paid. So if you're doing GSA and you have a different plan for GSA payments, you can change the plan on the fly. Otherwise, they have a default plan. Okay, and you can do it by percent invoiced or percent paid. Okay, so if I go here to invoice, it would do it based on the amount that I've already invoiced. I can also do a different customer order. So I can say I'm going to pay based on this order and percent paid, and it automatically looks up what my rate should be and schedules my commission. The cool thing about that is when it auto-calculates, let's say a cost comes in after the fact of paying the commission, you can go right back into this window, double-click, and it will calculate a negative if you paid them too much. It'll also calculate a positive if you didn't pay them enough. So you can go back and audit anytime you want to, and it'll figure out what amount it should have paid. Okay. So after you pay commission, you've finished invoicing, you paid your commissions, you go to final profit, and you get to see the overview of the job. And we track everything. When somebody works on an action item, somebody's doing that drawing, we track how much it costs for that person to work on doing that drawing. And we'll track the internal project cost details. And the important thing about that for you guys is how much does it cost me to do, what's my cost of doing business? I know how much each employee costs me, right, a year, but do I know how much it costs me to not get jobs? Do I know which salespeople are costing more than others because I don't have enough information? Do I know which employees are costing me more money because they sit there wasting time doing the drawing? Okay, I can tell all of that stuff just by using the software the way it's meant to be used. And you can see here, I've got my internal project details. This is every workflow action item that went through this job and how much time was spent, how much it cost on each person using the actual cost per hour. You can see how this job went through. This is one job, but I can see it here on one job, or I can look at my entire company, or one person, or a group of people, or a salesperson. Okay, so all of this, because we track all this, automatically, it just happens, you guys can evaluate your business and see where things are costing too much and work on that. See where things are going right and try and emulate that somewhere else. Okay. Stephan, can you talk a little bit? Did you guys do the mail merge in here?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
That's, I do want to get a little more on the, just do a couple more things on the sales side, how really cool this can be. And that's like, how much of your business would you say is repeat business?
A lot.
And how about you guys? How about you guys at Turnkey? It's a lot, right? So here's the thing. Let me just show you really quickly what you can do. I'm going to go here. Stephan said I sent out to 5,000 people about a new product. Okay. Here's how he could do that. Create run analysis. I'm going to go to my my contacts, and I'm going to say, show me everybody that ordered from me last year. Okay. And I'm going to run the query. That'll pull up every contact who's on an order from last year. Those are my existing customers. Then I can say, I want to send them, or I want to write a letter to them. Okay? And I'm going to choose a template. Okay, so I choose a template. Then I can say I want to send it as an email. I want to send it as a web page. And then it actually shows up as a web page with beautiful pictures and anything you guys want to create. So Stephan, what kind of stuff do you have in here?
Like we just did some e-blast on on some different products here. You know, whether here's products, but we also have like sending emails, these mail merge for like the customer web portal. Welcome. Here's order acknowledgments. You know, we'll create everything. Thank you letters. We have some survey forms. Here's some product highlights. Our newsletter.
Right, and you guys, I know you guys get emails all the time, and they have HTML emails, and it says right click here to download pictures, right? When you do a mail merge from here, and you tell it to send us an email and send us an HTML, it actually includes the pictures in the email, so they don't have to click anything. Those pictures are a part of the email. It looks really, really nice. We use it all the time to do marketing for eManage, and we'll send out screenshots.
Let me just do one real quick, and while you're talking, I can show you one. And I'll just send it to myself. But here...
And think about this. You build your own templates in Microsoft Word. That's what you use. So you format it however you want, make it look real nice, and then you do the merge, and it goes, if you say send us an email, send us HTML, it looks really great. You're going to send it to yourself, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And you guys, just so you know, if you look at the rest of that, it says add to a marketing campaign. And you can also create lead records at the same time. So if you're doing a blast of people, you can keep track of it with a marketing campaign and figure and see, are my emails being effective? Just like we showed in the very beginning with the marketing campaigns. So it's doing this initial thing, and then it's going to actually send it as an email. So Stephan, you can either look in your sent items or your
There it is.
Okay, so this is what got sent out using eManage. That looks really great to me. I don't know about you guys, but we use this all the time to design this kind of thing and send out stuff. And you see it's got links. It's actually HTML. And you didn't have to right-click and download pictures. You don't have to do any of that. You can literally send out pictures, and it's seamless. People just open it and look at it.
Yeah, and it personalizes it. So it's just so nice. When we're doing this, again, if I, clear this and we have our welcome to our customer web portal or our acknowledgement, I can use that and send it. Oops. And what that's doing, that's the subject of the email. So now this one will send out to different customers, and it should be coming here in a second.
So you guys think you could use something like that? Yeah, it's pretty cool. I love it. We use it all the time. And I'm not kidding when I say that. We send out emails all the time to promote eManage, and we'll send screenshots, and we'll do all of that. So, and you can see how many templates Stephan has here that they've built, right? I mean, they've built all these in. And Stephan, you have Tess that does a newsletter once a month, right? With stuff going on at the Systemcenter, right?
Yep. We have a newsletter, and it's actually a link that they could download. So here's that email came through, by the way.
Oh, okay.
There it is. So what it's saying, it's saying it's went to me. Here's the web portal. So if you click on
why don't you actually go into it? Let's show. We have a customer.
This is my external IP address.
Oh, okay. Well, we have a customer web portal that that you can allow your customers. You obviously have to let them log in, and they can start projects. They can say, hey, you know what? I need another chair for this room over here that you did. They can do that online, and it alerts you internally that you have a new project. It actually creates a project for you. Or they can order product online. They can say, just send me the chair. They can send you notes and alerts inside the system. They can send it to whatever department you make available for them to send to. So you can let them be a part of the process, and it really is so cool to even offer that. And like I said, it's the difference between somebody using eManage and not using eManage. I can guarantee your competition doesn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Can you log in, or is it not letting you?
Yeah, and I just logged in, but I changed my...
Oh, your IP address, you didn't update it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I can show them later. Anyway, we also have, I think I was starting to show you on the last demo, we have the mobile web portal. We kind of talked about that last time, yeah? That's for your phone, and you literally can take your phone out and you can create a project while you're with a customer or do a service call. The chair's broken, bring another one, right? You can do that right while you're on site with a customer from your smartphone. So, is there anything that we missed, Stephan? Anything that you can think of that we could go over? Do you guys have any questions?
Well, yeah, Stephan, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey, how easy is it to provide a labor proposal? We probably 50% of our business is service related, and so a lot of our proposals are labor driven, and they happen fairly quickly. So you've got a proposal, turns into a work order. Kind of walk us through that process, proposal to work order to billing, because right now we're having to use 2 different systems, and it's terrible.
Oh, okay.
Is this for service? Is this for service, or is it actually so it's actually going out and servicing somebody? So Stephan, you could either use a service ticket, or we have a whole service module in here that you can is a shorter process than the project.
Well, I think and I think correct me if I'm wrong. Are you talking about doing going and doing a service ticket, or providing a service like installation services?
Right, installation services.
Oh, okay. Well, probably the fastest and easiest way. So say I called in to your company and said, hey, Doug, I need a quote for this project, for installing this and that. Well, if you need to do something really quick on the fly, then you could just search me, just go down to search and type my name in, and right-click Actions and create a quick quote. Now, what this will do is inside of here, you notice right off the bat it has create an order entry process BOM. So this is if you're going to book it.
Right, and that's actually everything that we went through in the project is right there in checkboxes.
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So you can uncheck it. If it's not an order, it's just going to be a quote, then you just uncheck it. And then it won't process the order. But if this is just a quote, you could say it's a service quote. Status is, you set your status. So you're in, maybe it's estimating. Probability, 75, you have a decision date, whatever it is. And you can add a salesperson here. And what you would do is you can do, the auto parts?
Yeah.
You can create an auto part template for services. So what you would do is here's the list of all your auto part templates. So you can have one for, furniture installation or furniture services. And when I click on that and add, what it does is it adds all the parts, and then I could just manually come in here, and you can preset these so it comes in as 1 or whatever, but maybe it's just seating chair delivery, and you're going to deliver 150 chairs. I can just type in the quantity of the chairs, and then
right. You guys actually, Stephan, that is an auto-calculating field, or
oh yeah, this is auto-calculating.
Right. You could probably use one of these others. Yeah, because remember that auto parts auto-calculate. Yeah. So see, it's actually sending back 0 because they calculate. So maybe that's not the best.
Here. This one down here, I think, yeah,
there you go.
These ones are set, and these ones are set to calculate on other parts. So in the template that you make, you wouldn't set it to auto-calculate, so you can edit it like this. So if I had to do, say this was the chair delivery, and I was delivering 150 chairs, and I would just say 150, and it automatically calculates the dollar amount.
Right, and what's actually really cool about this, you guys, is you can actually search. Let's say I want to search part of the description, and I want to look for a chair. Okay, I can put in a chair here. Okay, and Stephan, are these things set to calculate off of chairs?
Yes.
Okay, so if I go here and I just say enter, okay, you see how this stuff now started auto-calculating because I added something that it calculates on. Pretty cool, right? 976 is my quantity because it's the sum of my list on that. If I change my quantity to 3 here, it auto-calculates these up because now it's 3 times. It's the total list here, changing these parts. So everything works all together. This whole window shortcuts the entire process of doing that quote. If you don't have a bunch of different rooms that you're doing, if you don't have to do a huge drawing, this is where you can do one quick project. Okay?
Yeah, so what you would do right after that, then you would process it, and it creates everything, and it takes you right to your bill of materials page.
Go ahead.
And inside, let's go to my BOM. What it does is it will create all the parts. It'll create all the parts, whatever I had here, and then you just go to View Quotes, and you select. It will have a quote name called.
Hey, Stephan, do you mind if we actually just do it? I'll delete it for you. We'll just process this, okay?
Okay.
And we'll just let it run through, and you guys can see how fast it is. Okay, so it took you, because we told it wasn't an order, we're just doing a quote, it built all this for me, and it took me to the bill of materials on this new project. And then I just go to View Quotes. My quote is already built. It built it for me. Okay, I can fill out some other stuff here, like the terms of sale. Okay, it's set to do a line item quote. It's got that already done, and I'm going to save and print. Okay, that is how fast it really can be. Between that and your importing, there's no job, there's no thing. The thing that should take you the most time is doing a drawing. Nothing else should take too long.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
In the customer setup, where I saw that when you were entering the quote and you let them select whether it's going to be a net 30, net
Right.
10, blah blah blah. Can that be an automatic that particular customer
Yes.
is set up that it's going to be a net 30? That way they don't have to select that, or it's not an option
Yeah.
for them to select.
In fact, it can be set up on the end user. Okay, so every end user, when you enter them, it can be set what their default terms are. You see that?
Okay.
Can you see that right there? And then every time you do a quote for that customer, it would be that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You can automate a lot of stuff. I mean, pretty much like this. If this person was always the salesperson for this, I could say this is the primary. Every single job that I do on that customer would automatically have that salesperson. So I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, and what if on a particular job there's going to be like 2 salespeople and there's going to be a split of commissions?
Okay.
You can actually affect the commission rate, or you can pick it to be 70-30 split, 60-30, 50-50, that type of deal.
If you look right here, Sandra Edwards, 100%. Okay,
Yeah.
I could change her down to 30% or 70% and add another salesperson at that other amount.
Okay.
So absolutely.
Oh, good. Here, do it. I need to do that anyway. 70, apply, add, Systemcenter, 30.
There you go, 70-30. You can add as many salespeople as add up to 100%. It doesn't let you continue if it doesn't add up to 100%, and it won't let you go over 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. And that goes all the way through to commissions. What it also does, you guys, is it does, if you're doing like a GSA or that BPA, a Navy BPA, if you're doing stuff like that, your sale price is actually just the amount that you're going to get from your vendor. But there's a booking credit, right? Because the vendor, your manufacturer, is giving you credit for the entire sale. So we actually handle that. We actually handle that a little different. We say, your sale price is the sum of all this, but your booking credit is the sum of your quote. Your quote is the whole amount of the sale, okay? So we actually handle that as 2 different numbers so that your salespeople get credit for the booking, but you're actually only collecting the amount of commission that you get from the vendor.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Okay.
So, and we do that all automatically. So
most people have to do that outside the realm. They have to handle it outside the realm of their software. Okay.
Yeah.
So does that quick quote thing answer your question about the service, the quick service thing? Okay.
Yep.
All right. We also have a whole service module. So if you warranty the stuff that you install, we have all of that handled too. So we have a whole service module in here where you can say, here's the manufacturer's warranty end, and then offer them extended warranties every year, every 2 years, whatever it is. It'll do that for you as well.
Yeah, this is another thing too that's so huge to us with the projects. If you notice down here, all the project contacts. So this is a large project, and so there's we have contacts, a project manager from the university. Here's the installation contact. Here's another one. Here's the designers. Here's some vendors. Everybody who we're talking to is attached to this project, and so come, a year or 2 down the road, Nancy could call in and she says, hey, you know, I'm calling regarding that, you know, that project that we worked on, and you maybe don't remember what it is. Well, Nancy Hugh, I can highlight her and then go to projects, and here's all the projects that we've worked with her on, and here's the jobs.
Yeah, you guys, this search e-manage is actually pretty powerful. You can look up by somebody's phone number. Like when you call somebody, when you call your credit card company or your cell phone company, they say, what's your phone number? You can do the exact same thing here, and it'll pull them up like that. So it's really, really simple to find things. When you find the so that just pulled up Stephan's company. When he switches here from locations to projects or contact, let's go to contacts. It's going to show all the contacts from that company. So it's really, really simple to find things because there's nothing worse than going searching. Like I'm sure you guys have a server where you have all your documents and they're in folder on top of folder on top of folder. None of that happens here. Okay? None of it.
I can pull stuff up. Haworth you know, I was talking to Haworth about a project, and it was before we were Haworth. And the customer wanted to add on to this project, and we actually lost the project to Haworth originally. And what was funny is they called me and said, hey, you know, this customer wants to add on. They want to order another desk and do some reconfigures. I'll have to, you know, I don't have the information on the project, but I'll find out. And I'm like, well, do you have a layout or anything? And they mentioned a name, and I was like, what was the name? The architect? And I was like, oh, it was Phil, and I couldn't remember the architect. And so I went through here, and I found out who the right here, Phil Camp, and I went to projects, and then I opened this. I went to history documents, and as I'm talking to Haworth on the phone, and they're telling me about this, I started looking through this stuff, and I said, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And I clicked on send this email, and I sent it over. I said, look at that email. Is that the project you're talking about? And they're like, how do you have all that information? How did you find it so fast? I said, oh, you know, I worked on this project originally, and it was with Phil Camp, so I can go to the project information, and I can look at everything, project overview, you know, here's when it was canceled, here was when it was created, and here's the architects. I said Frank and Phil worked on it from Hawaii Architecture. And I had everything about this project that Haworth didn't even have.
Right.
And they were floored.
And you guys, this is exactly what I was talking about anybody who answers the phone being able to help the customer. It's better to do that than to transfer them to voicemail and hope somebody gets back to them. You literally can see everything that you need to see and answer pretty much any question in here. So, you guys have any other questions?
Where is all this information stored? Is it a hard drive at your place, Stephan, or are you doing this all in the cloud?
No, I have my own cloud. I have a server in my office, and I have salespeople that connect on all islands, and from Japan and Korea and Guam, and then I also have I have a full-time employee, a designer that's in South Dakota.
Okay.
But the thing is, we don't do a hosted version of this, and the reason why, Stephan, if your internet goes down, what happens to you?
I have everybody in our office still has access, and we can continue working.
That's right, because that's the most important thing, that you can continue working. So we do everything to make sure that no matter what, you can continue working. So if you house your own database, everybody inside of your office, which is, you know, people doing drawings, stuff like that, can still work in the software. So I'm not a big believer in cloud, and I've been around for a long time, let me tell you. It's just not what I see as beneficial if your guys' internet went out the other day.
Yeah.
Right. So you would have been screwed for how many days or how long? You know, something burned out. So what are you going to do about that? Right. So
how many salespeople do you have on your staff right now?
I have 5 external salespeople, and that doesn't include
Do they
me.
all work off of iPads? I mean, have you, like, do they carry iPads around to the job site, or do they work off their phone, or?
Well, they work off their phone pretty much. They all have laptops. One of them has an iPad, but I don't, when they're going out on the jobs, they'll do a presentation. They'll take what's necessary, whether their laptop, and they can do a presentation or.
I have other customers that they only use iPad. They have connected iPads and they use the mobile web portal, and that's how they work. It depends on how you guys work.
Right.
So when you moved and when you switched over to this program, how acceptable, I guess, were the salespeople to it? I mean, from a training standpoint and all that, was it fairly easy for them to catch on, or?
Well, you know what? You guys know salespeople.
Yes, we do.
Constantly on, have to be on the salespeople. Now, I have a saying, and I said it earlier, if it's not in eManage, it never happened. We will not do any work unless it's in eManage. All of my project managers, our estimators and everything, if they get an action item and it's not there, reject it. You're too busy to sit there and have to dig for stuff that they didn't supply. If there's no project contacts on a project, reject it. Because and I explained this to them. I said, and I do training with them all the time. If there's something new in eManage, I show it. If there's, some cool hints or tricks, and I actually been doing some different training lately with the salespeople about, here's how you could be more efficient. eManage is a tool for salespeople, and they understand, and I make it very clear that we need this information for the company, and they need to use it as a tool because it's going to make them as efficient as they can be. And the last thing you want is if they're out sick or they're traveling or on an appointment and a customer calls in and says, I've got $100,000 right now and I want to place this order. I got to put it on a government credit card in 5 minutes or I lose the money. I need to do it. Well, I can't find the quote or the contact's not on it or anything, then they lose that job. And you know what? Then I'm going to be really upset.
Right, and you guys, one of the things about the software is
it's a constant training thing, though. I mean, you're constantly having to update them and train them, and so I mean, if we went with this program, we have to make sure that there's somebody that's going to keep the salespeople updated and notified, right?
Well, but that's sales management. It's
Right.
not. You're not doing anything different than what you normally do. Just because it's eManage doesn't make it that you have to do any more than what you normally do. I would do the same thing if we were using any software.
and the other thing about the software is it's self-perpetuating, right? Yeah. What Stephan's saying is that if you don't submit an action item, there's nothing getting done. If you don't put the project in, you can't submit an action item. If the company or contact's not in there, you can't get any further. So it's self-perpetuating all the way through the line because nobody accepts anything that's not through the software.
Right. It's a no-brainer. If you talk to my salespeople, they love eManage and they're blown away. Now, salespeople, if they're going to gripe about anything, it's doing admin work or having to do anything that takes any time that's not, I guess, talking with a customer.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, but they understand the value of getting the contact and the company in here, creating a project. It makes it, how easy, you need to submit, look, to do an order, okay, to order equipment. These are the things that we need that are required to process that order. Mm-hmm. Look, there's one prerequisite here that says create an action item for a customer thank you. So all you do is you click on submit an action item and you go to customer thank you and it says attention question. Oh, okay, send it to Stephan. And all they do is they put a date and submit it, and then it goes to the person that's responsible for doing the thank you, and it's done. So what eManage has allowed us to do is to focus on the things that are most important on our business, and we don't have to remember to do some of the, redundant, mundane type, this, it's a checklist. The whole program is a checklist to make sure things are done, and it's what you need anyway.
Yeah, a visual checklist so you don't forget anything.
That's right. It's people's job descriptions right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I manage eManage, and eManage manages my people. I don't have to manage them on a day-to-day basis. I'll sit in here, if I want to change the workflow, I'll change the workflow, and it just works that way. I'll just change the action items, or I'll change these prerequisites, whatever. And then it's part of it. In fact, gosh, I know that we just changed something here lately. Oh yeah, we added the links ID number. So once I change it, then it's a done deal.
Right. You're basically. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do you have separate project managers or like a separate group that once the salesperson handles the job to date, then they take it over to do the scheduling and get involved in the project install?
Yeah. What we do is we have 3 designers, and so what we do is when the project is an action item is submitted to do a drawing or an estimate, it goes into the actions to perform. So draw estimate required. And you see how this one says TBD? So nobody's opened this up yet. So when it goes in, whoever is next on the queue will open it up, and then they'll assign who it is. And so what they'll do is our designers then they'll do all design, they'll do the estimate, we create the proposal, they'll send it out sometimes and copy the salesperson. But then once it turns into an order, that project manager, that designer, will then order it as well. They handle the project all the way through to punch lists, ordering, acknowledgments, all that stuff. And then we have a job coordinator which handles all of our scheduling for installations, all the service, any warranty, things like that. But I've been able to do more work with less people.
Yeah.
Stephan, let me ask, what if it's just a simplistic, it doesn't require a designer, doesn't require drawing, it's just set into place 30 chairs or, say, a conference table with 12 chairs for a conference room, but it doesn't require any of that. Is it just a building materials list as far as
That would be like the quick quote that we showed you, like for the service.
very simplistic like that? Okay.
Right. And if you have a SIF file, or you can use that, or you can just add parts like I did. Remember, I did a search for a chair. Yeah.
So you can add a SIF file just for that.
You can. Okay. You can have a SIF file, and in fact, if you look at the quick quote window here, the quick quote. Am I lost here? The quick quote window actually has an import from a SIF, so you can actually import it right from there. So
we could do a SIF file and do the quick quote itself, and then upload it into there, and that's it.
That's correct.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you can actually have it create purchase orders at the same time, book the order. It basically creates what the invoice would look like, so you're ready to bill.
Okay.
You could also, listen, the easiest way to do that is to have your customer do it online. Let your customers that order stuff like that log in and let them order, the chairs right online. And then it does everything for you. It's already done, and it comes in as an order.
Okay.
So, but, I mean, that's something you'd have to decide on a customer-by-customer basis. But the quick quote's really simple.
Yeah.
Usually we just create a project. That way we can attach the documents.
Yeah.
Because you can create a project yeah, there's a couple more clicks, but you're talking about a couple more clicks, maybe a minute longer, but then you can, attach, what, that's one thing that, Philip, you didn't show is attaching documents.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, unless you guys want to see it, but it's pretty. We integrate, with Outlook. You can literally attach an email straight from within eManage from Outlook. You can also save any document to. You can save any document to a project. So.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Stephan, really quick. Do the save to.
Yeah, you could just do a save to.
You guys see that? We have a folder right there called eManage 7 Upload to a Record. All you do is save it to that folder. Go ahead. And then what that does is it says what project or what company or what contact you want to save it to, and you'll see it here in a second. There it is right there. So it says out of the open windows, would you like to save it to one of those? You choose which one you want to save it to. You give it a document type. And you guys, one of the things about our document management is we have document security levels on everything. So if let's say that let's say you've got salespeople. Salespeople are generally at low security level, and you have other people that are at medium. Medium people can set documents to medium security level, and then even if the salesperson is a salesperson on the job, they can't see the medium documents. I mean, they can see that they exist, but they can't open them, they can't edit them, they can't do anything with them. So you literally can keep documents private that you need to keep private. Okay, so there it is right there. That's what he attached. So it's really quick and easy to attach this stuff. And again, if it's a thing that eManage generates, it's even easier. Just say save to eManage, and it goes against the project it came from. So, any other questions?
I need two questions, but I mean I can talk to him.
Go ahead.
Okay. Stephan, I have two questions regarding the information, getting the information to design. So you talked about like when the salespeople set up a initial request and set an action item to design. What exactly does that entail? We have a kind of a problem right now with getting all the information up front. We kind of have to go through a lot of exercises or whatever to make sure that design has all the information that they need. So I guess I'm interested in seeing like what is sent over to design for the request. Is it notes? Is it how is that information transferred?
Well, the first thing we'll do is under this draw estimate required, we have these prerequisites. So, customer discount, profit margin, site surveys attached. Now, the site survey could be the, it's all a layout. Maybe it's elevator. We actually have, if you go into, our mail merge surveys, we actually have a site survey form that they print up, and it has things like who's the contact, do you require elevator reservations, what's the size of the elevator, is there a loading dock, all the general information. So they need to attach that. Here's another one if it's off island. Because we need to know for travel, if there's travel expenses. Healthcare buying group, actually I'm going to take this one out because it defaults and will add the buying group discounts when imported. Attached proposed layout, so maybe this is a CAD file or a drawing from the architect or designer and user. And then attached product checklist. And this is / survey. This will be more of, we have some surveys for, say, the Spacesaver systems, like do they, is it the type of guidance? Do they have to have anti-tip? Is it a mechanical or an electric system? Things like that. That's a checklist that we've created that we'll have them add. Now, what happens is right here, you check all these things off, and if I have, here's the drawings that, what is this? Oh, this is, if I have some CAD drawings or something, this is where I could select those CAD drawings, and I can just drag and drop them. I can go down to, we have...
Right, you guys, I want to point out what he just did. Those documents were already attached to here, but you see it looks like, what, 100 documents in this project? So the person, by drag and dropping those things here, you're saying use these documents so you don't have to go and search through 100 and some documents looking for the right document. So by associating them here, you're actually saying use these and don't look through all of this other stuff when you get that.
Yeah. And then what we do is if they need to, and a lot of times, you know, the salesperson will have to sit down with the designer to kind of go over it. Then they'll just type in, you know, a note like, please, you know, schedule appointment to review. And so they'll just type a note. So you can type notes in here. You can attach the documents. You have the prerequisites. And you create what you want, you know, based on your business. So you can add more things in here. But usually what we'll do is if it requires sitting down and going over, you know, maybe a design layout or some ideas and things like that, then we'll just say, please schedule an appointment. And you can also just create an appointment. So you can create an appointment here and just send an invitation to you know, one of the internal people.
Yeah, you guys,
so
actually one thing we didn't talk about was that events calendar, and it's a shared events calendar, so you can actually invite people, you can schedule other people, you can have attendees, and you manage actually, we integrate with Outlook, so this goes onto your Outlook calendar, and you can tell it to send a meeting to your customer right here via Outlook. So it'll send them an invitation just like if you made it in Outlook. So.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead, Stephan.
Yeah. So that's kind of how we'll handle it. Is with the action item, they have to send in an action item. They can type a note here to schedule an appointment to review. Then, you know, the designer can go in here and look at the salesperson's calendar, and I'll uncheck mine, and they can say, oh, okay, it looks like, oh, there's that. It looks like they're free here, so I'll just schedule an appointment with them to review it. And then it sends them an invitation, and they can accept it or decline it. So that's kind of how we're handling the you know, the project, because there is, and a lot of times there's stuff that's very easy to do. So maybe they need, you can get everything that you need to tell them in a, in an action item, and send them a drawing, and you know, it might be some chairs only, and so you can say, oh, I need 10 chairs, blah blah blah. Here's the part number. And then they could just do it really fast.
And you guys, the really cool thing about action items, if you notice down here, Stephan has 75 actions to perform, but he also sees 39 open action items. So I don't know about how it runs at your company, but salespeople generally want to know, where's my stuff? Are you done with my stuff yet? What's in process, right? Every salesperson, for every project that they're a salesperson on for whatever part of the credit, it's going to show them every request on every project. Okay, so this is their projects, the things that are happening. So if it's in the stage of invoice the customer for final, then they would see it in here as a project action item that's invoice for final right here. Okay, so they can go here and see all of their projects that are listed in there, invoice for final. Okay, so they don't have to go and ask a person, did you get that? Where is it at? Where are you at with it? Okay, because we have % complete, we have expected complete, we have notes, all those things are right there for the salesperson to see. Because, I mean, what a waste of time to go and ask somebody where something's at. It stops the person from working, it stops that person, you know, that salesperson from doing their job. So this, we tried really hard to keep people from wasting time. Okay, so this is right in front of their face all the time.
And so when you get a new action item, like does it send you an alert in an email, or how do you know you have a new action item?
It actually pops up just like Outlook. There's a little thing that comes up just like Outlook. You know, when you get a new email, it comes up right over here.
Okay.
So, and of course your number changes right here too. So.
And what happens is so say I'm a salesperson and I sent in an action item for a draw estimate to be done. Yeah. When that drawing and estimate is done, it sends, and I don't have any alerts down here, but there's a tab here that's called alerts. What it does is it sends an alert back to the salesperson saying this project, this action is completed, and it was completed on this date at this time by this person.
And then it gives them a link to be able to go into that project, right?
Yeah, you can only acknowledge them. So it notifies everybody when it notifies the salesperson when it's completed. And the other cool thing about it is you see the status up here, ordered. It's everywhere on the project. So like the project information, here's the status. If I go to my
backlog,
here's the status. What happens is as action items are opened, the status can change. As they're completed, or when they're open, it changes. When they're completed, it can change as well. So it's automatically updating the status of the project as action items are working. Now, I can also, if I want to, I can manually change the status. But it handles it as work's being done, then I can see everything. And then I can look at my backlog and, you know, I can quickly search here, invoice for final. That's what I have. That's invoice for final.
Okay, there's another question.
Yeah, and my second question regarding design, you said that there's a clock when you start a drawing that starts. I mean, yep. As a designer, when you're working on a whole lot of things, you're disrupted like every second of the day. And so how can I stop that clock to where that's not available to that project anymore to jump into something else?
The clock actually, it's like a little mini timesheet. Okay, so every time you open up the action item, it starts. When you close the action item, it stops. And then if you open it up again, it starts again. And then when you close it, it stops it again.
So yeah, here, let me show you here. So
you would have to basically close it or stop it if you were interrupted.
Okay. I mean,
listen, it's never going to be. You're never going to be like 100% accurate because you get interrupted. But this is to give you a general. I mean, it's going to be generally pretty accurate of how much it's costing you. The really important thing, and it is Big Brother, yes, but the really important thing about that is that how many jobs did I not, or how many projects did not turn into jobs last year? Right. And how much did that cost me to not get those jobs? And how can I make sure that we do better? That's what it's really about. It's about the cost. People don't understand time. They understand money. And that's why we attach money to it. Right?
Right.
So it just helps too from like a salesperson perspective. I mean, like I'll do a lot of drawings myself, and yet I don't bill them for my time. But if you go with something like this program, it'll show me, how much time I've wasted doing a 2-office drawing for them and not charging them.
Yeah, you can do, and that's what it's about. Is you want to know. Look, you can sit there. Here's the alternative. You have to sit there and keep a manual log. You're either doing it in a spreadsheet or some time clock or manually writing it down. So the way this works, and I'll just open up, here's an action item. If I just open this action item up, it opens up the project and it opens up the action item. Okay? So if there were documents, there would be documents here. And if you noticed here, look, they're on credit hold, by the way. So, which is, you want to hear what's crazy about this is these guys are like the wealthiest company in the whole state of Hawaii. They're on credit hold. That's scary. Anyways, this is where it starts keeping track of all the time and everything, and who opened it, and so on and so forth. If documents are here, here's the note, here's the completion note, delay reason, here's completion tasks. So you can see that some of these items, these tasks were completed by Sandra on Friday, March 2nd. And so not everything's done. So you can, you could type a note in here. You could put a % complete, an expected completion date, and then all you do is update it.
What you guys should know about this, on the submitting side, right? So submitting is generally going to be salespeople, and they have that list of actions that need, things that need to be done before. This is on the other side. I like to be really balanced about things. So if we do something that makes salespeople do something, I like to make something that makes the internal people do something as well. This is the other side of the equation. Okay, so salespeople have things that they have to do before they submit, prerequisites, and people working on action items have completion tasks. So this is the other side, basically the job description for the person doing the action items. So
right, and look how general these are. Look, change project type to bid, update project scope, attach bid docs, update project status, update project contacts. It's stuff that we know that needs to be done, but it's just a reminder to do it.
Because if you forget, it could be detrimental to the project process. I mean, something very small could be a problem, and we don't want it to be a problem. And you guys design this stuff. This is all designed by you. So when you realize that something is a problem, you correct it using this. You say another completion task, and you decide what these are. You go as far as you need to go and not any further. You start real liberal with it, and then you get more conservative as you go. Okay.
Well, we need to wrap it up. We've got about 5 minutes. Is there anybody have any questions? Or I don't know.
Is Doug still with us?
No, actually he left.
Okay. I was going to ask him just ask him if he thought that this Stephan was exaggerating at the OFDA meeting.
He actually had to run to a meeting, so
okay.
He left about 15 minutes ago.
Okay. Well, we did record this, and I'll get you guys a link to when it's to the recording, so you guys he can come back in and watch it whenever he wants to.
Great. Yeah. Okay. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Everybody have any feedback? Very impressive.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's an incredible program.
I mean, I think it's a good tool. I think it'll get us more efficient, yes, and it'll definitely help keep track of what's going on, just in a day-to-day business. It will help us getting up from our desk and asking questions and interrupting people, and maybe stop the paper train a little bit as well.
Yeah, definitely. We're paperless here. We have papers here and there, but everything's either attached.
A week, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be great to cut down our paper flow. It's insane.
I have a question. How long, because I can see there's a lot of backside setup, that you have to think about and what you want. Basically, how long does that take? And I guess you meet with key people within those departments.
That's correct. Yeah, we try to do three 1-hour meetings a week, and it generally takes about 3 weeks to a month altogether. And during that time, remember that while we're setting it up, because all of the stuff that we do with you to set it up is stuff that you can do when we're done, right? So Stephan's going into the administrator. So while we're setting it up with you, we're also training you how to set it up for yourself. So when you need to make changes, you can make those changes. But it takes about a month.
About a month?
About a month, and that's meeting 3 times a week at an hour a meeting with different people. So there's one person you guys want to have that's your administrator, the person that has a handle on all of it. That would be in every meeting and be a part of making those decisions. Yeah. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff we set up. I mean, listen, you guys are a furniture company, and we use a template for furniture companies. So some of the stuff is basic, and it's always going to be the same for a furniture company, right? Yeah. So, but the stuff that's specific to you, like salespeople employees, all that kind of stuff. And remember that we can import that stuff from QuickBooks too. So that's an even easier setup when you already use QuickBooks.
Yeah.
So
it's just the parameters are, yeah. I know what
the
you mean.
completion tasks, all those prerequisites, stuff like that, you can have the template, but add and subtract things, right? So, right.
We change this stuff all the time. If we find, hey, we want to change the word or add something, or maybe we don't want it anymore, then we can just uncheck it here to make it so it's not active and doesn't show up anymore.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
All right. Well, if there's any more questions?
I don't think so right now.
All right. Just Stephan, Stephan, thank you so much for getting up so early. And
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. It's very, very informative.
oh, no problem. Anytime.
And
Okay, we're all going to fly over and visit with you personally on it, okay?
Yeah, do it.
Anytime you want.
Here.
Our office manager is actually leaving. She's coming to, where are you going? To what part?
Maui.
She's going to Maui. She'll be there for 2 weeks.
Oh, there you go. Stop by the office. We're in Honolulu.
Yeah.
A little island, a little short trip.
Yeah, it's a 20-minute flight.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.